Okay, y'all, I just want to have a conversation real quick. Can we talk? Can we talk? Are we cool like that? Because listen, here's the problem with gatekeeping. The problem with gatekeeping is you don't make friends that way. You don't make friends by not telling them about cool stuff. And why has no one told me about Alien? Let's have an animated discussion. Tell me why. Tell me why I had a job interview with an animation studio this week, and I go, and my friend works at the studio. She's the one who referred me, so I went to go visit her floor because we'd be working on different floors, and they had a life-size replica of Alien, and it would move its head and click and shoot its mouth out. It's my worst nightmare. Actually, my worst nightmare is working at Disney Animation Studios and then having a late night my first week and getting lost in the studio and trying to figure out my way home and turning a corner and suddenly there's a giant mannequin of Sully like this when he scares Boo. That's my biggest nightmare. But this was a close second. And I'm like, will I survive at this job? I did. I got the job. Guys, congratulate me. I got a gig. Do you know how hard it is to get an animation job in this economy? I'm winning. Applaud for me, because I'm proud of myself. But anyways, can you imagine, right before you're supposed to watch Alien, you see a replica of Alien, and I had seen them before, but not a life-size one. Those mofos are huge. They're big. They're terrifying. And I am a coward. If you follow my TikTok, you'll see a video of me being like, hey guys, I'm about to start Alien. I'm a chicken. Let me know what I should look out for, because I was not ready. But I was so ready. This movie is everything. Guys, I love this movie. I love this movie. I love this movie. When we open up in the movie, it's empty and it's bare. And I thought this was like a future moment of like, oh man, the aliens already gotten to them. We're going to rewind and go and see how we got to this point. It didn't click to me that everything was pristine and clean. I did not understand. And suddenly when the screen turns on and the light reflects on the helmet, I was like, what is going on? This looks so cool. And then we go to the room where the pods lift as the lights turn on, and I was like, this is cinema. This absolute cinema. And then Dallas goes in the mother shipboard part of Mother. I don't know. Because I can't say Dallas goes in Mother. That's weird. But Dallas goes in Mother's room. That sounds better. And all the lights, and it's so 70s, and it's so cinematic, and it's so gorgeous. My dad used to work at the LA Times as a pressman. He used to print the newspapers, and they didn't have a room full of lights, but the architecture of that room definitely kind of reminded me of this set. So it was a nostalgic feeling for me because it reminded me of when I would visit my dad, and it was just so beautiful. Like, set design killed this movie. Set design set the tone for this movie. I already knew I was in for an amazing ride just by the first few sets that I had seen of the ship. Oh, so good. Watching how this movie played out, and it was so interesting, the beat to beat to beat moments of like, they're getting rerouted. Why are they getting rerouted? Why are they checking out this planet? What did Kane find? Because my gosh. And then why did Ash not listen? Just how everything played out was so interesting, because I don't know, and maybe I missed this, I don't know that the ship rerouted on its own. I think Ash set the route for the ship, because obviously we know Ash. But watching how this story played out was just so fascinating, because it's such a close encounter moment. It's a 6v1 basically between the crew and Alien. And I loved the intimacy of it. A lot of people told me that Aliens is better than Alien. And so I watched Aliens after Alien. I disagree. I think Alien's better, honestly. And I think part of it for a few reasons. One, I expected more action quicker. We don't get action for the first hour of Aliens. And then we get action. But I expected this like giant battle, really. And I feel like besides seeing the mother alien, we didn't really see like this huge battle. And so I think everyone just talked it up so much that I was like, this is going to be this giant, huge battle. It's going to be crazy. And I was like, wow, the alien killed almost everyone immediately. This doesn't seem okay. But I love Alien. I love the tension. I love the intimacy. I love the dynamics of the character. If you think about it, this movie actually does pass the Bechdel test, because Ripley and Lambert, everyone's in the room having a conversation, but Lambert says, well, who's going to go down the shaft? And Ripley says, I am. And the rules for a Bechdel test are, has to be two female characters talking to each other in a scene about anything other than a man. And those two sentences make it past the Bechdel test. This movie's feminism, guys. This movie's feminism. I think that this movie does a really good job of flowing well. I think it does a very good job of building the tension while also having character dynamics and character development. There are a lot of movies that have tension that only have character development for one character. And the argument could be made that Ripley is the only one that has character development because Ripley's the only one who survives. But I don't necessarily think that's true. I don't think that's true for a few reasons. I think Parker goes through some character development of... It could be argued that Parker's more lookout for himself in the movie because he's very much, when am I getting paid? Better have my money. You know what I mean? To, okay, how are we getting out of here? Which, that could just be a fear tactic, but I feel like the argument could be made that Parker could have been written as, I'm getting out of here, deuces, bye, y'all are on your own, with the way he was originally written. I still think he has a good argument about getting paid fairly compared to everyone else, but I don't think that it would have been that out of the scope to have him written as someone who would have gone on his own and just been like, sucks for y'all, see ya. I also think Lambert had some character development in the sense that Lambert was terrified the whole time. Absolutely terrified the whole time. But still was brave enough to try to fight till the end. Terrified, fought crying, but she tried to survive till the end, which says a lot. Dallas also, I feel like a little bit had character development. Maybe not. Maybe Dallas didn't have character development. I'll have to think about Dallas a little more. Let me know what you guys think about Dallas. Do you think Dallas had any character development? I did. Something that's very interesting. As I said, I absolutely love that the script was not written with men or women in mind. They all could be played by either a man or a woman. I love that. But it is fascinating to me to think about who got cast as a man or a woman. You know what I mean? Because if you think about Lambert's a very scared character. Lambert could have been played by a dude, but Lambert was portrayed by a woman. And so I'm wondering if even though the script was written without gender in mind, did the casting directors still have gender in mind when they read the script? Did they think, oh, scared person, that should be played by a woman? Oh, a gruff engineer, that should be played by a dude? Which is fascinating because if you watch Aliens, technically, I don't remember his name, but the character who's really high strung the whole time is like, hey man, we got the best equipment ever, dude, we're totally gonna dominate. And then at the end, he's the one panicking the whole time. He's like, we're not gonna make it, man, we're not gonna make it. He could have been played by Lambert, basically. He could have been Lambert in the first movie, and then when you think of the gruff engineer person, that could have been Vasquez. And so it's very interesting because I do wonder if in some ways they were still typecast a little bit, but you can see the opposite version of that character, the opposite gendered version of that character in Aliens. I just really like seeing what that opposite would have looked like. You know what I mean? So if you guys want me to do a full review on Aliens as well, let me know. Okay. We need to talk about something very important here. Okay? Because what I noticed about this movie, love this movie 10 toes down. I think it's an amazing movie. I think it's a great movie. Probably one of the best movies I've ever seen. I have to think about that one. But there is one grievance about this movie that I take very seriously and I'm not okay with. And that is that this movie made me hate Bilbo Baggins. I'm sorry, what? My Bilbo? You're gonna make me hate my Bilbo Baggins of Bag End? There and back again, A Hobbit's Tale, Baggins? No. We don't play that here. We don't do that, okay? Because let me tell you something. It took me a minute to even recognize Mr. Ian. And then when I did, I was like, my boy is in 2 dope franchises. Win-win. Win-win. So excited. I was so excited. I was like, get it, Ash. Why are you being mean? You're not mean. You're gruff. You're a gruff guy who doesn't like your relatives, but you're not mean. You're usurping Ripley's authority? What? You're not listening to her? Why are you sweating milk, my guy? Why are you sweating milk? What's going on? You mean to tell me he's a robot? I lost my mind. And I want a refund, Mr. Scott. I want my HBO Max subscription paid for at least 3 months, because how dare you make me not trust Mr. Bilbo Baggins? I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay. And you shouldn't be either, honestly. Rude. I could talk about Ripley till the cows come home, and I will. And there are no cows who have a home here. So I'm going to be talking about Ripley for a while. Buckle up. Everyone always said that Sigourney Weaver was like the sci-fi woman. And I saw her in Avatar, and that was it. And I was like, sure, yeah, she's great in Avatar. Did not realize that she is Mother. That she is the quintessential sci-fi woman. That she is the #1 sci-fi woman ever. And so I was like, I think I knew before the movie started that Sigourney was in it. And I was like, okay, cool. It'll be fun to see what she does. You know what I mean? Y'all, I was not ready. I wasn't ready. Oh my gosh. Ripley as a character. I gotta be honest. I don't know if Ripley would have been as hard-hitting of a character if Ripley was played by a man. And that is nothing against men, and that is nothing against male actors. The reason why I don't think Ripley would have hit as hard if Ripley was portrayed by a man is because it would have been more predictable that Ripley would survive. Because society. The fact that Ripley was portrayed by a woman with a good head on her shoulders, very logical, just surviving, having really smart solutions to things that people just aren't listening to, I lost my mind. Lost it. It's gone. I can't find it. Have you seen it? Because I haven't. Ripley was so great. And Sigourney Weaver sold Ripley. It's a sci-fi. This is fantasy. Obviously, it's not real. Sigourney played this role so well that I was like, yeah, I should get a job doing that. Alien scavenging in other planets. I don't even know what she did, but it makes sense. She made it make sense. I love when an actor finds their bag. I love when an actor finds their bag and it's their sweet spot and you just know that they're good in it. I mean, even in Aliens, she was amazing. She played PTSD very well. She played panic very well. She played there's something that happens that I've experienced on a very mild level, very mild, where you have PTSD for something and then you are panicking because you have PTSD, but then when you go through the situation again, you click into action and you're like, okay, I know what to do. I don't want to be here, but I know what to do. And Sigourney played that role very well in Aliens and Alien. Okay. As Ripley was headed to the escape pod, I put in my notes, where's Jonesy? And then literally, as if she heard me, Ripley goes, Jonesy. And I was like, that's not what I meant! No! Don't go! I was like, oh, that's a hole that wasn't filled. Scott, you missed something. No! I was like, no, don't go get the cat. Don't go get the cat. Fun fact, did you know the cat's not Ripley's? The cat is Brett's. That's so funny. I didn't know that. But that also explains why they sent Brett to go find the cat in the beginning. When she got the cat. And the cat was safe. After all of this, the cat was safe. My brain knew that there was Aliens, a second movie. So you know what my brain thought happened? Do you know what my brain assumed went down? I thought that that the alien had impregnated Jonesy, and that was how we were going to get Alien 2. Honestly, it's not a bad theory. Because, like, Kane was awake for a good amount of time. We don't know how long Kane was awake before the alien popped out. So if you impregnate the cat, go under stasis until you get home. Makes sense to me. I was ready. I was on TikTok like, y'all, Jonesy is pregnant with an alien. I'm serious. And they were like, okay, just watch Aliens. You this could be answered if you just watch the next movie. But I did not trust that cat. Honestly, I've seen Alien and Alien. Still don't trust that cat. I got an eye on you, Jonesy. I know what you're about. And I'm ready. When I was a kid, my father got us a Dreamcast set, and that was the first gaming system we ever had. When I tell you we loved that game 10 toes down, but it didn't make another version of it like the PS1 or the PS2. And my father said it was because the gaming system was ahead of its time. I don't understand games that well, so I don't know if it's true or not, but that's how I feel about the ending of Alien. Because let's talk about how the last 3 people who survived was a black man and 2 women. And listen, I know people are going to get mad about me bringing up race and gender. I really don't care at this point, because in my notes, when I wrote my notes for this movie, I literally put, let's see how long he lasts. Because I really expected, as soon as the alien was revealed and he was killing people, when the alien popped out of the guy and we were ready for him to start like killing people, I literally put in my notes, when is he going to die? Because I knew the black guy was going to die. So I just knew the black guy was going to die soon. I was waiting for it. I was like, oh. And I was like, oh. He's still alive. And then the women were still alive. And that is the beauty of writing a script without gender in mind for the characters. Listen, I lost my mind when I found out that the script was written without gender in mind. Because when you think about it, I think gender is a very important identity for people. So I don't want to knock the importance of understanding your identity in your gender. But there is something beautiful in Alien being written where every character could be played by a man or a woman. I don't know that I've ever encountered a script like that before, and if I have, I haven't noticed. I loved watching how that played out in this movie. Because if you think of characters like Dallas, Dallas almost makes sense as like the white man who almost knows too much as the captain. That role made sense. Like as a typecast, I could see that happening. With Ripley, I remember when Ripley first confronts Ash and he like talks down to her a little bit and like kind of ignores what she's saying. And it was so fascinating to me because I really enjoyed how Ripley handled that interaction. Ripley handled that interaction with poise and authority. And that's something that sometimes when a woman is in control in a role, they have her really angry and really emotional and da-da-da-da. And Ripley didn't do that. She was like, hey, I have protocol. You usurped my role in this situation. What are you doing? And I loved watching her in that argument. I loved watching her interaction with Ash. I loved this quiet call to respecting the authority without like, but I'm in charge. It's me. Because sometimes when a woman's in charge in a movie, they focus so much on the fact that she's a woman in charge that it's like, no one respects me, no one listens to me. And in this moment, it wasn't like, oh, no one respects me. It was, what are you doing? And why are you doing it? And let's address it, And obviously Ash didn't listen, and we know why later. But just the way that was handled, And so you see the comparison of like, I was surprised Ripley was in charge, like second in command as a woman. But she still bodied that role, and it made sense. The way she portrayed that character made sense. Dallas absolutely was just an automatic choice to me as far as like a leader. And it was very interesting to me to realize later that the scripts were not written for specific genders, because even though Ripley surprised me as a leader, she played that role so well that it fit. And then Dallas just fit that role. So it was very easy for me to believe Ripley as a woman in that role because people were not believing her. So at first I thought it was written for Ripley to be a woman because no one was listening to Ripley. And I was like, that's fascinating. Because I was like, oh, she's in charge. That's really interesting that she's in charge at this day and age. Oh, no one's listening to her. Oh, okay. That's why she's a woman. And that's what was crazy to me. That was such like an insane moment of like, you don't always realize how much you fall back on typecasts until you see it and assume it. And so Ripley's character was such a conundrum for me, even in this moment. But I spent so much time just looking at Ripley's character because there was so much of it that didn't make sense and so much of it that did. And that was fascinating to me. And I loved seeing all these characters play people, just people, and how people would react in this situation. We are human beings. We are human beings before we are man or woman or anything. And I love that this movie took the time to acknowledge that, because everyone had a very human like experience in this movie. You know what I mean? The engineers wanted to get equal pay. That's a very human experience, to be taken for granted for your hands-on skills versus what I think some people would call like mental skills. Like the scientist getting paid more than the engineer, where if the engineer couldn't fix the ship, the scientist can't go where he needs to go. And so there's an importance in that work. And I think some people just assume, well, oh, he's repairing the ship. Anyone can learn how to repair the ship. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I can cook really well. I'm a pretty good cook. For the life of me, I don't know why, I cannot make a hamburger. I cannot make a hamburger. I don't know what it is. I've made Chicago deep dish pizza from scratch. I've made Jamaican beef patties without ever having made them before. I'm learning how to make Nigerian goat stew. I love to cook. I cannot make a hamburger. I cannot. So don't come at me and telling me, oh, it's so easy to build a ship or work on a ship. Like, don't underestimate the amount of skill and talent it takes to do something that some people would consider simple. So the idea that like something seems simple to you, I really don't like that. I don't like that. And yes, maybe a burger is not the best example because a burger is easy to make and I just lack the skill for it. My point still stands. I feel like Parker and Brett should have gotten paid more. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Overall, I give this movie 4.8 out of 5. Everything amazing, wonderful, beautiful open hubs, Ripley's gorgeous hair, her wonderful jumpsuits, not Jonesy, I don't trust Jonesy, Parker, Alien, Acid, everything. Ash, Milk, Sweat, all of it. I give it everything. I love this movie. I love this movie. I'm so mad because this was only supposed to be one movie. Now I'm 3 movies deep and I still have 5 more movies to go, and I've heard the rest kind of suck. So I'm like, ugh, why do I have to love a franchise? Is it good? But I feel like sometimes Star Wars fans feel the same way, which is crazy because Star Wars is a pretty good franchise, even though y'all complain every time a new movie comes out. I digress. Anyways, that's me. I'm Dee. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and don't forget to like and subscribe. As always, see you later.